Welcome back to the Amplifire, your one-stop shop for music yappage. I'm your host, Jason Paul Kim. If you don't know me, I have a music commentary channel. It's not that big. I'm at like 24,000 subscribers, but this is my little podcast where it's basically just me talking about music-related similar things to the main channel, except it's not edited as much, so it's less work for me, so I like that a lot. I just want to apologize if I cough a lot during this episode. For the past few weeks, I have just had this like lingering cold. It's literally been 3 weeks. I don't know why the cough is not going away. I feel better. Like I have a little bit of sniffles, but I think that's just allergies because it's springtime. But like if I talk too loudly or inhale too much, I just start coughing and yakking, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna probably try to cut out the coughs as much as I can, but if a couple sneak in, please don't get mad at me. Please don't click off this video or podcast, whichever way you're listening to or watching this. I do want to address the fact that I haven't uploaded an episode in a while. And there's a few reasons for that. It's still an early new podcast project for me. And I'm really struggling with, I guess, figuring out what its identity is going to be and how I can bring you guys like consistent content. Because obviously I can film an episode every week and like put out an episode every week, but as far as like, I don't know whether it's breaking it down into segments or like giving you the same amount of news related stuff or my personal opinions, just like an expectation for what each episode would entail, I'm struggling with that. And I'm doing my research to try and make this like a genuine like news report where I have like so many different topics to talk about, giving my 2 cents, really make it like music journalism. That's what I went into this project wanting it to be, but it's kind of hard to do because there's just not like a lot to talk about. Especially, I'm just not qualified enough, if I'm being honest, to report on all things music related. So for now, I think I'm just gonna make it a podcast about music. And, not give it too much pressure because, if there's one thing you should know about me, it's that I am such a like end goal guy, right? Like when I start a project, it's never really just because I feel like doing it, I'm going to give it a try, see how it goes. It always kind of stems in an end goal of like, I'm not going to go to the gym because I like going to the gym. I don't mind it, but I go to the gym with the end goal of looking like Chris Evans in the first Captain America movie. You know what I mean? Obviously, I haven't gone there. I'm never gonna get there really, but like that's what I shoot for. I need to know what I'm going for, and that's what's been holding me back with this podcast for a while because I didn't really know what I was going for. I know long term, I would love to be like a genuine music journalist, and right now, this seems like the best way to kind of get my foot into that door. But at the same time, I don't have a journalism degree. There's not much that I could talk about that I know my audience or even me, like I would personally care about right now because I'm just a young kid. So we're just going to talk about things that matter to me in regards to like the music industry and things that I think will matter to my audience that I have right now. And I'm not going to put any pressure on it. I'm just going to do it because I want to. Music is one of my biggest passions, So I got a couple topics to talk about. We got a couple segments today. It's a little bit of a different format, but just bear with me. I'm trying to figure it out. Ed Sheeran has announced his new album. It's called Play, which is the start of his second album series. Obviously, we know he has the mathematics one, which is plus, multiply, divide, equals, and subtract. This next one is going to be like play, pause, rewind, fast forward, and stop or something, which honestly is kind of nice to see. I would consider myself an Ed Sheeran fan. I've been listening to his music for a while. And after he ended the mathematics series, I was kind of uncertain with what direction he was going to go in because I feel like similar to like my thing, right, is he started the plus thing and the multiply thing with the end goal of having that complete series. So you see a little bit of a trajectory of like how his career is going to pan out and like what, the next math album, which one is that going to, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's dropping the next math album in the series. But after that, it's like he dropped Autumn Variations, which was a nice album. And then he might have dropped like a couple singles after that. But not a real sense of direction. So it's just nice to see that he's starting, I guess, a new chapter. As far as like the concept for the series being like play, pause, stop, rewind, fast forward, I feel like it's a little weird. Maybe there's going to be meaning to it. Maybe like the fast forward one will be like him singing about his future. The rewind is about his past. Play is maybe he's like, I don't know, getting into musical theater. I don't, like we'll see. But he did perform one song on Jimmy Fallon called Old Phone, and that was a really nice one. It made me realize that, Ed Sheeran, I feel like gets a lot of flack for just being like such a basic like acoustic pop singer, and like all his songs kind of have similar structures and feel kind of the same. But if all of them have the same structure, it's a good fucking structure because that song was really nice, really sweet. I'm not going to say the lyrics dig too deep, but it just like rounds out his writing, I feel like, rounds itself out really nicely. It doesn't scratch your brain in new ways per se, but it's just very satisfying to listen to, in my opinion. So I'm excited for the new album, and what he has in store for this next chapter for his career. Definitely. He didn't give a specific date, but we know it's called Play. We know it's the start of this new series. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. Speaking of artists releasing new albums, there's been some buzz, some speculation recently that Olivia Rodrigo is working on her third studio album. Now, it's not confirmed. It's actually the opposite of confirmed because she posted on her Instagram recently saying that she's anywhere but the studio. But we all know that's a deception, right? Come on, she's messing with us, obviously. She is set to play Gov Ball this summer, which Gov Ball is in June, first week of June. I'm going, which I'm so hyped because I've never seen her in concert, and I'm a really big fan of her music, in case you guys didn't know. That's also my first music festival, so I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But it is kind of random for her to just be there, right? She's definitely promoting at least a single. My theory is that she's going to drop a single like either that weekend and perform it there, or she's going to perform the single there. It's going to be a crazy thing and then release it like a couple weeks later. She's dropping this year. 100%. It's been 2 years. She's keeping this pattern of dropping every 2 years. Sour 2021, Guts 2023. This next album, another 4-letter thing, maybe like fuck. I told myself I was not going to curse in this podcast anymore. Crap. I don't know. As far as my expectations / hopes for a third Olivia Rodrigo album, the chapter that she seems to be in her life right now, I feel like it's not going to be very heartbreaky because I know she's pretty much in a healthy relationship with a seemingly nice guy. So I would love to see her try her hand at some love songs. I think she has a love song. So American is the only love song in her entire songography, which is pretty crazy. I mean, it's a nice little catchy song, but that really, I guess, puts into perspective how set in like one perspective, because Sour was such a great breakup album. And then Guts really just expanded upon what Sour did with a little bit more of a mature lens. I would love to see her kind of go back, like sort of relapse back into love, right? And then maybe her fourth album can be another sad heartbreak one. But the third album, I think, would be a nice little upward turn. See some positive music from her. See some more just classic pop bangers. She doesn't have happy songs. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not complaining. I really want to stress, I'm not complaining. I love her music to death. I love it so much. But I think it's time for some variety. I think Guts really milked, in the best way, because I love that album. It did milk everything that she had left of that shtick, I think. That's definitely coming out probably by the end of the year. If I had to guess, we get our first single before Gov Ball or around Gov Ball, get a second single in August, and then drops in September. That's probably what's going to happen. Mark my words. Come back to this clip when we have OR3. All right? I definitely nailed it to a T. Speaking of Gov Ball, in this little hiatus I took, this 3-week hiatus, we've had all of Coachella happen. And this was definitely an interesting one. I think because partially it revealed a lot about where I think general audiences stand with music festivals in general, and Coachella specifically as well. The big thing that was trending on social media, other than David just falling on his face and embarrassing himself horribly, is that the crowds are kind of mid. Crowds are going mild, as they say. The crowd goes mild. And I think it's pretty clear that just comes from the fact that Coachella is not about the music for most people. It's just about dressing up in cute little outfits and, doing drugs and drinking and having a good time with all your friends, post-grad era or college students that live in California, right? And that doesn't stop me from wanting to go to Coachella someday, because that does sound pretty fun too, I'm not gonna lie. But not the drugs part. No, not the drugs part. Not the drinking part either. No, actually just forget I said that. Coachella sounds horrible if that's what Coachella is. But as someone that loves music so much, and Coachella is the staple music festival, it's definitely on my bucket list. With that said, I think a lot of people not take it for granted, but the culture surrounding Coachella has just changed, to the point where they're not really going to enjoy the performers so much as they are just to do all the stuff I said, wear cute outfits and, do drugs and drink and stuff. On the flip side of that, though, I feel like we did see this year the headliners taking it a lot more seriously, just busting out more stops and making it more of a spectacle. Spectacle sounds kind of like a bad word too, because I'm not saying it's just a spectacle, there's obviously deeper meaning to it, but you look at Lady Gaga's thing of her, on the big chessboard, her playing chess against her old self to represent the new era that she's in for Mayhem. You look at Travis Scott, right? How he had people dangling over fire, which I don't know how they must have gotten paid a lot for that, right? Because a malfunction, you're dead. You're on fire. You're dead. I would never. I don't care how much money I'm getting paid. I would never subject myself to that. But the point is, he's doing an album rollout. Lady Gaga's promoting her album that's already out. You know, these artists are using Coachella as like an opportunity. They're seizing that opportunity to incorporate it into their rollouts or just have it play a bigger role in their promotion and whatever they're trying to do, and having it mean something rather than just going on stage and performing. There's an effort to create memorable experiences for the audience, and it's just a bummer that it doesn't seem like the audiences care that much. I mean, obviously some of them do. I'm sure there's so many Lady Gaga fans over there, but there's also plenty of people that are just there for the vibes. And to say, I went to Coachella, it was a movie. Oh my God. Like, dude, I will go someday for sure, skis. I'm so excited for Govball. I know Govball's like not the same level, but there's some pretty cool artists going. Tyler, the Creator. I'm a little bummed because I have tickets for Friday and Saturday. I bought a 2-day pass, and I was going to go Friday and Saturday to see Tyler and Olivia because I just don't really know Hozier like that. I'm not going to lie. But my friend that agreed to go on Friday with me, when I was buying the tickets, I was like, hey, friend, I'm going to buy the tickets, so you're 100% going. And he was like, oh, yeah, of course I'm going. It's Tyler, bro. I can't miss it. I was like, okay, I'm buying the tickets. Bought the tickets. Guess who's not going anymore? Which he is a fine reason, I guess. But now I'm just like scrambling to like try and find someone to go with me. If anyone watching this wants to go with me, please hit me up if you like Tyler. None of my friends really listen to Tyler, and the ones that do, I just feel kind of bad asking them. But yeah, please hit me up if you want to go. I have the ticket. I might just buy another ticket and force my brother to come with me because my brother's going with me on Saturday to see Olivia because we both love her music. And I'm honestly more excited for the artists on Saturday anyways. I think Wallows is Saturday. Conan Gray is Saturday. And there's like a few others that I know. Friday, it was really just Tyler, the Creator. And I think JPEG Mafia is there. I don't really listen to, I know like a couple songs other than that. And then Tyler, which I know Water, you know? So like, I got to study up regardless, but I'm excited. I'm going to make content around it. I'm going to make like a video that's like my first music festival experience and like all the like prepping and stuff that I do going into it. I'm also planning on doing it sober, which I think I can comfortably talk about now as a 21-year-old. So I'm legally allowed to drink, I could say. Being in specific loud settings, I think I'm a little bit more of an introverted guy. So I usually need some of that, you know, that magic juice to kind of lighten up and enjoy those hectic energies, you know, at like parties or whatever. But for concerts, I can't risk not remembering it. I can't risk paying all that money and then having it be fuzzy in my memory. You know what I mean? I need to be on my A game. So I'm not going to be drinking. I'm going to be 100% sober for both days. And I'm really excited for that because I get to laugh at all the people that aren't sober that are there. It's going to be great. Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on if I find a partner to go with. Unfortunately, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Most of my friends don't listen to Tyler, the Creator, believe it or not, or just like not enough to want to go. It's a lot of money too, you know? So I really feel bad asking people to go. I thought me and that one friend had a thing, but I guess not. So that pretty much wraps up all the music news related stuff. I know it's a little bit short, but again, as far as like current events go with like pop music and the pop music scene, there's just not that much going on, bro. And I'm not about to like yap longer than I need to. Be sure to comment down below any thoughts you have on any of those topics that we just talked about, which is basically just music releases and Coachella. Let's move into some of our submissions. Now, I posted it on my Instagram and on my community tab on YouTube. Just general music related questions and conversation topics for the pod. And every episode, we're going to do a couple of them that I get from you guys. And yeah, some of them are people I know, some of them are people that just know me from YouTube. And let's just get started. Taylor has asked me to discuss the differences between pop music in 2010s versus the 2020s. Very interesting because obviously when you think about eras of music in particular, but just like all things pop culture related, they are defined by trends, right? So the trend in like the early 2010s was EDM, was dance music, was club music. So that's why you get people like Lady Gaga, the music she was pumping out around that time. You get people like Zed popping off. You know, I know Zed's still making music or doing his thing, but he's not nearly as popular as he was back then with the Clarity song. Think about if Clarity came out today, no one's listening to that. You know, Ariana Grande, basically all the artists except like a handful were really kind of leaning into that sound. Now we take a look at it. A lot of the trends, dance music is coming back with stuff like Brat, but it's a little different because I think each artist now is sort of a little bit more in their own lane. Whereas, in my opinion, 2010s, I'm saying early 2010s because late 2010s is kind of like the transitional period between the two eras, if you ask me. Early 2010s, it always felt kind of like an A&R thing where you just have a song and you just slap whoever's a famous name on it, right? So like Ariana Grande, you're not really hearing Ariana Grande's personal flair on Break Free. And that change starts to flip a little bit more, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong though. Once Taylor Swift started to dip her toes into pop music with her personal flair, these songs that are clearly written by her, that couldn't really be sang by anyone else because it just wouldn't have the same meaning to it, right? But doing it with the pop genre, you could see how that's reflected in Ariana Grande's music, starting with like I would say Sweetener, a little bit on Dangerous One, but mostly Sweetener, which is like what 2018, I think 2017, 2018. And that's the transitional period to now. That's all that pop music has become. Right now, it's theorizing what the artist was writing about this. Now there has to be that connection, and it's just so different from like the 2010s, where it's you just get the best producers and you throw them on. You have them write a song, and then you get whoever's a poppin' artist and throw them on it, and then that's the pop music. That's what's gonna go number one. I also feel like we had a lot more one-hit wonders in 2010. I don't know, like the Chainsmokers, not that they're one-hit wonders, but like I don't know any other songs other than We Ain't Never Getting Older, Clarity. Who's the girl that sings that? I don't know. You know? Now there is obviously the rise of like stan culture in general. Now we have gotten to kind of a point where like whatever a famous artist releases is gonna do well. I think we've genuinely gotten there. Like thankfully, most of the times they're releasing quality stuff. But if I always make the joke, if Taylor Swift farted into a mic and that was the song, it'd still go number one. Maybe for like a joke, but she'd still make bank off of it. You know what I mean? Because stan culture is just that strong. Whereas that is not the case back then. I think back then, if Taylor Swift, even though she was popping when she was, in like her red era, if 1989 flopped, it would be a flop. If it was bad, it would have been bad. You know what I mean? The standards for bad pop music back then were a little bit different, though. I think now because we have this expectation for more emotional depth in our stuff, something like 143 by Katy Perry could have came out 10 years ago or whenever she was dropping her earlier hits, say like 2010. And it could have been successful, if I'm being honest. The hooks on that album aren't horrible. They're a little bit lifeless, in my opinion, which is one of the reasons that it suffers. And is also not really that emotionally deep, but it's because it came out today that now I feel like I don't want this. I feel like general audience have a little bit more of an elevated taste now, and that sounds so pretentious to say because obviously I still enjoy my Big Time Rush. Some of the bangers from back in the day, and there's also exceptions to that. I listened to Lady Gaga's first album. What's it called? The Fame Monster recently. Spoiler alert, I'm working on a Lady Gaga discography video. My first time ever listening to that album. And most, if not all, those songs hold up. They're a little unorthodox, but that's kind of her flair, right? For the most part, I think all those songs hold up. And there are moments that feel a little bit more emotional, a little bit deeper, which is nice. That's how you should do it. And yeah, it's just a different industry. There's so many other factors that come into it, like with TikTok now, it's like being considered like an A-list pop celebrity is so much different. There's people that blow up because of TikTok. There's people it's just become so much of a grayer area between who's considered top of the line artist and who's not, which is really cool to see. It does result in a pretty oversaturated music scene where I think artists are now feeling forced to pump out more content to be able to like not become irrelevant or to like just keep serving their fans and keep capitalizing off of their success. It almost feels more album centered too, which is funny because I know a lot of people think that albums are an outdated concept because it's all about what songs will go viral on TikTok. I actually disagree with that. I think less people were listening to full albums in like 2012 than they are now. Maybe because you would buy the CD because, you don't have streaming, right? So you buy the CD, listen to the whole album that way. But as far as like recognizing and knowing the songs, I feel like there is more of a culture to listen to entire albums now than there was 10 years ago. And it is, again, also rooted in stan culture. If these fans get hyped for an album and then they listen to the entire thing and then they recognize each song, they give more attention to each song. But yeah, I hope that wasn't too messy. I think there are a lot of subtle differences between the two eras, and I think there are some ways that they are remaining the same. I think what makes a pop song successful is always just going to be the fact whether or not it's catchy. Emmy asked me to please explain the Disney actress to pop star pipeline. Hi, Emmy. I mean, what is there to really explain? We all know the story. Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus. Ariana Grande is technically Nickelodeon, but like same concept. They get started on the show, they get their name out there through the show, and then they become famous off of that. Miley Cyrus is probably the best case study because obviously creating the show Hannah Montana is meant to promote her. Right? She's playing this pop star. They're writing these songs. They're producing these like pretty solid pop songs for the time. And selling them, marketing them with her face on it. We know that when the show is over, we know what's going to happen. They're going to try and make her like a genuine artist, right? And they did. Disney has this thing called Hollywood Records, which is the Disney record label, right? And they would sign all those people. Selena Gomez, when she was like Selena Gomez in The Scene, when she had a band. Nick Jonas and The Administration. That's a horrible name. The Administration. What is this fucking board meeting? The Jonas Brothers were signed to them, And I would say that's the big difference as far as how the pipeline works today, because obviously a more recent example is, we'll say Olivia Rodrigo, right? I don't think she was ever signed to Hollywood Records, which I think is a key difference as far as how people perceived her as an up-and-coming artist in the music industry. No one really looks at her and says, oh yeah, she's another Disney kid. Even though she released Driver's License while being on a Disney show. It was different because I think it blew up naturally. Me as a Disney Channel kid growing up, I think the reason that you associate those faces so specifically with that, like just being like a child, like a kid music, you know what I mean, is because of the ways that Disney Channel promotes it. You would watch Good Luck Charlie and then they're like shoving it down your throats every single commercial break. Hey, listen to Bridget Medler's new album. This is the song, Which of course they're going to do because they want to maximize the potential of their resources, right? If they have commercial break opportunities, why would you not promote your other stuff, right? It's like when I take a break to promote my podcast on my main channel or my Patreon or whatever, right? Even though Patreon is dead. Does not exist anymore, RIP. But yeah, obviously the pipeline has proven to be relatively successful. You have so many A-list pop stars that got their start in children's television. Obviously, the big struggle that comes with the pipeline, even though it has been relatively successful for a lot of people, is A, just like childhood fame and how that messes with you mentally, and B, shaking that image of being just a child star and becoming like a genuine artist, right? Because even when you're 30, if you don't distance yourself enough from that, you're still going to be known as the kid on Disney Channel. So it is a trade-off, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's not too hard to do. Look at Sabrina Carpenter. She was like a Disney Channel artist making Hollywood record music for a long time. And you can see the difference when she signed with a new label after that, the change in her music, and now look where she's at, So I think getting the general public to actually see you as a legitimate artist or legitimate actor after. So for Zendaya, it takes something like Euphoria. It's just such a serious role where she could really showcase her talents. Now no one really associates her with Shake It Up or the other show. I forget what it's called. Zac Efron. He did a lot of like R-rated comedies and got super jacked. There's always going to be that effort to shake that. And I think that is something that is just inescapable, right? It's something that it's a struggle that's always going to come. Now, looking at the ways that that's reflected in music, obviously it helps that Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, who are two of the most recent Disney pipeline turned pop star, whatever examples, in their music they curse a lot. It's very clearly not made for like kids. Why do I have an expo marker in my pocket? It's so random. Obviously, we know Miley Cyrus, right? Wrecking Ball. That was her big moment where she's like, hey, I'm not a kid anymore. And now when Miley Cyrus drops a song, honestly, I wouldn't say she's fully escaped it just because I feel like Hannah Montana was pretty big for her. I don't know, like she literally got like a movie in theaters, bro, right? Ariana Grande is an interesting case because she wasn't that big of a role on like Victorious, and even Sam and Cat. No one really watched that. So, you know what I mean? It's a little bit different. I don't think there was ever a point where Nickelodeon was pushing her as an artist, right? She kind of just got the opportunity. She got her foot in the door and then she sees opportunities outside of the Nickelodeon sphere. And that's probably the best, I guess, easiest way to do it. But it helps that Ariana Grande's voice just doesn't quit. Just a generational talent that you would be a fool to pass on. So not everyone's going to be like that. I think if you listen to a lot of Miley Cyrus's earlier stuff, her voice is not that great. Now she's really refined her style and her sound, and it's great, but it wasn't always like that. Whereas Ariana Grande, like from the jump, From the jump, dude. Oh my God. Love Ari so much. Sorry, I don't know why all my tangents always end up being Ariana Grande glazing. I think each instance of the Disney Channel actress turned pop star pipeline is different, right? Some are more successful, some are less. Truth is, Selena Gomez, even though she has a successful music career for sure, I think the consistency of her fan base is a little bit different in the sense that because she's not just a musician, people kind of just know her to be Selena Gomez. When she releases a single, like single soon, she dropped a song like last year and it did not do well because it was kind of mid, first of all, but also because she's just doing so much and then she drops music. It's kind of like Haley Steinfeld, also known as being an actress, but did you know she makes music too on the side? I don't know. It's almost like you have to be in one lane, which is a little bit lame. There's obviously a few exceptions like Childish Gambino, but that's a tangent. Who cares? All right, the last one we'll talk about. Zeke asked me, what is my vocal range / highest note that I could sing? This is not related to the music industry, but the way I see it, this podcast at this point, because music news is just low-key unreliable because I don't know how much topics I'll be able to get week in and week out. I think just labeling it as a music podcast where I just talk about music. I love music, right? I think that's totally fine. So I will answer this question. I am technically a baritone. In high school, I was a tenor 2, sometimes tenor 1, but I sounded horrible. And then when I joined a cappella at college, they're like, "No, you're a baritone, dude." And I was like, "Yeah, I think you're right." Because when I talk, I low-key have a deeper voice. Sometimes I'll ask people like, "What do you think I am?" And they'll think bass, which is a little weird. Because I can't hit those bass notes, no way. But I'm a baritone, and my highest note is, I think, a G sharp. I might be able to hit an A. I'm not really sure. Instances where I've had to hit a G sharp would be Mirrors, which is the solo that I have for the Dutchman that's on Spotify. It's also my senior solo this semester, so I'm really kind of tweaking about that because it's just so high. It's so high, dude. It's actually so high. Like, this is Justin Timberlake we're talking about. Obviously, it's gonna be high. And I'm trying. I've literally been practicing all semester. Every rehearsal that we have, every week, I show up an hour, or not an hour, like 30 minutes earlier, right before rehearsal starts, and I'm just so I could have a room where I could belt out as loud as I need to hit the notes and to practice that song without getting noise complaints in my dorm. Sometimes bro, catch me at like 11 p.m. singing into my pillow pressed completely against my face. Keep your eyes on me. I don't want to lose you now. I'm so excited to perform that song with the Dutchman as my send off with the group, because Mirrors, before even getting the solo, is already like my favorite song of all time. Watch my video last semester that I made for JP Christmas, top 10 songs of all time. Mirrors is number 1. And it's hard to pinpoint why. I love the Timberland like beatboxing in the verses. I love Justin Timberlake. I love the guitars on the intro. It's just so fire. But ever since it came out, I've loved that song so much. Lyrically, I also think it is really good. I love the way that it kind of paints out love as like a partnership and like, I don't know, not to get like too deep, but like I love that song because I think it romanticizes love in like a really nice and sweet way. And the way it paints it out to be this like not just a partnership, but like feeling like you're looking in a mirror, like you found your soulmate. I feel like that's so nice and so sweet. Like that's what I want. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for, low key. And that's just something I've always resonated with. So it also is a great song, dude. The hook is so good. The vibe, the last chorus where they're clapping. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, I'm so hyped. It is too high for me. That is definitely going to be a problem because I don't want to kill people's ears. I don't want a voice crack, but we're going for it. But yeah, in that song, I think I hit a G sharp for the I don't want to lose you now. It might be an A. But that is like I think around 10 or 2-ish range, right? Like so I could sing 10 or 2, but baritone I'm definitely more comfortable. I'm gonna miss having an outlet to sing after I graduate, dude. That's gonna be so sad. That's actually gonna be so wait, why am I thinking about this? It's gonna be so sad. That's why I started posting like little JP Galeles on my like Instagram and TikTok, like little covers and stuff, just because I want something to like I just want an outlet for singing after I graduate, and that's the best I got for now. So if anyone wants to join my band, you know, hit me up. All right, you want to join my post-grad band? We're gonna be doing strictly Ariana Grande covers with an alt rock twist. I will be lead singer and lead guitarist and bassist, and you could be drums. You could be drums and you could be backups. And also, we're gonna do every song in the same key that she does it in. So we're not dropping anything. We're not changing any keys. It's basically just gonna be her. And then yeah. And hit me up if you want to join that. Music release radar. There's one song that I wanted to talk about. Joe Jonas dropped a song called Heart by Heart. Really sweet little song. It's not like the tightest song in the world, but it's really nice. It's acoustic, very full arrangement. And I love the message of it. It's kind of clearly meant, I think a lot of people perceive it as his message to Sophie Turner post divorce. And in that sense, it's kind of sad, but honestly, Joe Jonas is such a great singer, dude. Oh, his voice, dude, his tone. During that bridge, he says there's a line where he's like, I'm so sorry, and he belts it out, and there's this kind of crackling cry tone. It's just so good, dude. Oh my God, so good. I think that's what we'll wrap up the episode. That wasn't that bad. I definitely managed to yap a good amount of time. Maybe I will do more submission topics. So please comment down below if you have any things you want to hear me talk about related to music. It doesn't just have to be music industry. It could be my relationship with music. It could be about specific artists. It could be songs, what I like in music. I don't know, just anything music related. That's what this podcast is going to be. Because the truth is, I don't love tabloids. All right, I don't love the drama surrounding music. I love music. Right? I love everything that has to do with the actual music. And as much as I would love to be a music journalist someday, and that is still my end goal, I think with this platform, at least what I want it to be right now, and as far as how it would serve me and what I want, I just want an outlet to talk about what I love. You know what I mean? And I could yap about the sky. I could yap about anything, but yapping about music, it's just gonna be fun. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching along. If you're on YouTube, be sure to check us out on Spotify. If you're on Spotify, be sure to check us out on YouTube. Subscribe or follow or whatever, just join the family. At 100 subscribers, we'll do a crazy blowout episode where I bring in every single one of my friends and we talk about music, because I think all my friends love music. I'm not do you know anyone that doesn't like music? Exactly. I'll see you guys hopefully next week. No problem. I'm really busy. I'm struggling with keeping up with content too. I have videos planned, but I might not be able to get them out until after I graduate, which is in 3 weeks. Oh my God, I'm graduating in 3 weeks. Oh, that's gross. But ew. No. Ugh. Anyways, yeah. Bye-bye.